Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Mess. So, they're kind of fun and exciting video for you guys this afternoon, and that is because the ShadPS4 team seems to be deciding that 2026 is the year that they speedrun PlayStation 4 and now, in some features, PlayStation 4 Pro Emulation. And honestly, even maybe 24 months ago, ShadPS4 would run a few games, but it wouldn't do a very good job of it. That's not a knock on the emulator, it's just how early it was in development. But now, between mainline ShadPS4 and certain forks to run certain games better, honestly, we're getting to a point in time where you'd be hard-pressed to believe that it wasn't running on a real console, in some instances running better than even a PlayStation 4 console could do. And that is absolutely incredible, because even though it's not like PlayStation 4 consoles are expensive at this point in time, emulation is video game preservation, and there will come a day, maybe in 10-15 years, where finding a good condition working PlayStation 4 will become more difficult, and something like ShadPS4 will be there for everyone else. And honestly, this new update is absolutely massive, it is meaty, and we're going to be having some fun with it today. Before I get too far involved though, do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe, and ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, we got a Patreon link down below as well. And honestly, the PlayStation 4 was a ton of fun when it came as to consoles, and honestly, I prefer it over the PlayStation 5 just because I felt like that was kind of a little bit of a boring generation, at least so far. For every hit game, we've had four that just really haven't been all that good in my opinion. So taking a look at something like ShadPS4, bringing us better PlayStation 4 emulation, it's just a win across the board. And do be aware when I say emulation, I totally get that the CPU in a PlayStation 4 is using the exact same instruction set for the most part as a modern processor is. This isn't emulation like when you think about emulating a Dreamcast with something like the Hitachi SH4 in there. This is a different way to do things, but it is still kind of all falling under the quote-unquote emulation umbrella. But it really is something interesting to think about. But the ShadPS4 team's absolutely stomping these developments, pun incredibly much intended, for something like Godzilla here, and that is why PlayStation 4 emulation is incredible, because trust me, the Godzilla PlayStation 4 game, unless you're a huge fan of the green monster like I am and love kaiju films, not really worth spending the money on, because this game is rare and it is expensive, but it is something that you can jump into ShadPS4 and play today. So if you want to check out a very mid, unless you're a huge fan, Godzilla game, then you have it available to you. Now taking a look at the updates here, you're going to see ShadPS4 is now at version 0.16.0. It's going to call it version 16 for now on, because that's a lot of syllables to get out. And the code name, not exactly sure what that means whatsoever, so if you know what it is, leave me a comment down below. But going through all the improvement notes here, it's definitely a fundamental upgrade compared to 0.15, so if you are back on that version of ShadPS4, I can't recommend enough. Definitely is time to upgrade. It's one of those things. We're going to go through all of the different top notes here, but basically you're getting better emulation for PlayStation 4 games, you're going to get better graphics, and you're going to get a lot less crashing, because honestly, ShadPS4 is still to this day a little bit prone to crashing. There's a couple different issues in the code, and they seem to be mostly fixed up in this new version, but again, that's not some sort of knock on the emulator. This is still so early in development that honestly the fact that it runs this well in and of itself is impressive to me, because the reality situation is emulation is a very hard thing to do, and the fact that these games will even boot up on a console that basically is barely even left the marketplace, at least in my opinion, I am 10 out of 10 impressed. And because we do have other developers going through different games and actually making forks of ShadPS4, being able to fork from version 0.16 is going to be important as well, because there's a lot of different changes to the underlying graphic structure, the audio, and everything else that's just going to give you a better experience. And this is on the pre-release 15.1 work in progress build, and honestly it's getting even better from there. So you're going to be getting a lot better and more flexible audio here, and honestly, audio every bit is important, if not more so than the visuals, because if a game has a slight graphical glitch, you're going to basically pass by it and not really care, but if it has a lot of audio glitches, you're going to be driven nuts quickly. Additionally, some initial camera support for PlayStation 4 camera-based games is going to be brought in as well, and even though that's not something that a ton of people are going to want to emulate, it really is nice that the ShadPS4 team is trying to include everything here, because somebody is going to want to do something like that, and they're going to be able to in the future. And honestly, outside of PSVR, and I wonder if that could be emulated, I would be curious, even though that would be basically hard mode, I can't think of any other games that use the camera that weren't PlayStation VR based that were worth playing. So if you do have a recommendation, leave it down below. But because we did talk about audio improvements, of course we're going to go into our first soundtrack sample. I'm going to use Gravity Rush 2 because it is an incredible game, and one now that I've actually played from start to finish on ShadPS4 with a fork and had a ton of fun playing. So listen, and I'll be right back.
Cat! Lao Bebe!
Now, obviously the PlayStation 4 has a large and diverse library, so it's not like you're going to get the level of audio quality, video quality, and performance of every single game like you would in Gravity Rush 2 here, stuff like Bloodborne or any of the other games that are going to be working. I'm just showing you instances of things that are very buttoned up, but you can hit games that absolutely will not boot whatsoever or won't be considered playable, so don't think that this new upgrade is suddenly going to make every single PlayStation 4 game work perfectly. That's just not where we're at right now. But there's going to be additional local multiplayer support, a big picture mode as well, which is nice if you just want to sit back on your couch, and some screenshot functionality as well. But honestly, a lot of the graphics and rendering improvements, and including the improved Vulkan stability, which could cause some crashes in the past, has been something that has been a big deal. I'm going to show you another game example captured off the most recent version of Shad, but I'm trying to be a little bit different here on this one and recommend a channel that I've actually seen a few times that doesn't have many subscribers and definitely deserves more. This is Unreal Gaming. I left a link to their channel down below, so go over there, blow them up with subscribers, and leave comments saying VGE sent me. Because while I may be over 70,000 subscribers at this point in time, I was definitely under 2,000, just like Unreal Gaming is. I really kind of want to try to spotlight some other people out there doing some fun things. And in their capture here, again, link to the description below, go check it out. You can see just how well the games are rendering. And this is a lot of different things going on, obviously. Stuff like the rain effect hitting the virtual camera. All of these things have to render correctly and in conjunction to produce the image you see on your screen. And sure, when there's not rain, you still have sun and lighting effects that all need to work correctly. And that in and of itself, again, is impressive just how good ShadPS4 is doing with some of these games. They're absolutely running at a good frame rate depending on your system specs. But do be aware, if you want to get this level of performance in any of the footage you're seeing here, you have to have a pretty decent CPU and GPU and a good amount of RAM. You're not going to be able to do this on a potato. It's basically allergic to potatoes. You have to have a decent PC, so don't think if you have like a 7-8-year-old rig that you're going to be able to do all of these things. You can also see that mapping and texture improvements have come in, as well as expanded Neo GPU instruction coverage. And that's because, of course, we do have the PlayStation 4 Pro as well, and that had a more advanced GPU chip from AMD inside of it. So it is something that when you're talking about emulation, when you get to systems that actually have a Pro moniker, it's going to have to be thought of in the future, because obviously every other emulator out there really isn't a version that has both a stock and a Pro console, because I haven't seen anything on an Xbox One X emulator. Unless I'm missing something, leave me a comment down below. So that's definitely going to be a hard mode as well. You're not just emulating the PlayStation 4, but you're emulating the Pro. One more soundtrack sample, and I'll be right back with a bit more info. Just so you know, I will leave a link in the description below to the entire patch and change notes here as well, but there's input and controller enhancements, including dealing with some regressions that came out in a previous version of something like ShadPS4, and that's going to be a big deal because honestly, the control of these things, every bit as important as the game's actually running, because if there are any issues in the controls, you are not going to have a fun time. But definitely check out the most recent ShadPS4 update. If you need a ShadPS4 tutorial or guide, leave me a comment down below and ask for one, because I haven't made one yet. But honestly, PlayStation 4 emulation is definitely maturing, and at some point in time we're going to call it retro game emulation, because the years will march on, pun very much intended for the footage you're seeing here, and suddenly everything new will feel retro again. But I love emulation, I love video game preservation, and the ShadPS4 team is absolutely killing it in 2026 when it comes to all of these new improvements, and I feel like by this time next year, you're probably going to have dozens upon dozens of PlayStation 4 games that emulate near to perfectly in ShadPS4, and that's definitely a reality I would love to live in. But you leave me a comment down below and you tell me what's the next game you hope ShadPS4 runs as far as PlayStation 4 games are concerned. I would be very curious. And if you never emulated PlayStation 4 before, don't be intimidated by it. It really isn't the hardest thing in the world. But short of that, we're done. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Bye-bye.